They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sport.
And welcome in, a very happy Thursday to you now, April the 24th, as we are getting ready for more playoff sports tonight, whether it be the NBA back in action tonight with 3 games as the first round continues in the association, or it be on the ice as the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs continue tonight. But I can promise you one thing. The NFL dominates it all. I'm Joe Raineri. Welcome into the SportsGrid Network here in GameTime Decisions, as we are going to have a very special edition of In-Game Live coming your way. It is all about the draft coming up here right around 7:30 Eastern time. We'll pass the baton off, and of course, the guys live from the studio will have everything you need to know about the first round tonight coming up. And the big question, of course, is where is Shedeur Sanders going? Can you believe that? That shows you just how little, I think, from the quarterback perspective, talent that we have in this draft, where the biggest topic of conversation pretty much all week was how far will Shedeur Sanders drop here? And it doesn't seem to be anybody that doesn't think that Cam Ward is going to go first with the Tennessee Titans here, followed by, for the most part, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. You can go down the list there. This is all contingent, of course, on whether or not the Giants trade out or the Browns trade out. We know the Patriots sitting at 4 don't need a quarterback. We know sitting at number 5, the Jags don't need a quarterback. We know the Raiders just went out and signed them good old Geno Smith. So the Jets at 7, maybe. This is going to be an extremely interesting, right after we get past the Titans. I think number 2 and number 3 are going to be very interesting to see here with the Browns and the Giants. Who, if any team, will be willing to move up to go get one of their favorite players who they think might actually change the franchise. But if it doesn't, and this stays pretty much the way we think it's going to stay, then you're probably just looking at a very bland first round of the draft. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter to the Giants, Will Campbell I have going to the Patriots here. A tackle that will certainly be a franchise cornerstone on that offensive line for the Patriots moving, and Mike Vrabel moving forward. That's exactly the kind of guy Mike Vrabel would want. The Jags, though, here is the interesting part. I keep seeing a number of mock drafts that Ashton Genty could be going in that 5th spot to the Jags, if you can believe that. Now, in what world would a running back in 2025 be a top 5, even a top 10 pick? Well, a lot of folks have Ashton Genty going right in the middle of that round there, number 5 to the Jags. So a lot still to be determined, I think. Only believe half of what you read, half of what you see during the NFL lead up to the draft. You've got teams telling you how much they love certain players, and then, of course, they end up either trading out of that pick or going in a totally different direction. So the good news is we're only about, an hour and 20 minutes away from the NFL draft kicking off for the first round, and we'll have much more along the way. In the meantime, Major League Baseball today had a little day baseball going on, a short slate as the NFL draft obviously dominated most of the conversation here today, but 9-game slate in total in Major League. We did have a doubleheader planned in Kansas City, and we already have one game in the books, I believe, with Kansas City winning game 1 against Colorado. Here, there's a shock. We do have a second game coming up in which, stop me if you've heard this before, Colorado will probably lose that one as well. But a lot of teams had the day off, but we do have a couple of games that are getting ready to go this hour. In fact, looking forward to seeing just how low the Baltimore Orioles can go here. This is a team in free fall right now, and it's not, I don't want to say it's their fault. They're not hitting the ball. The injuries to the starting rotation have just obviously taken its toll. But if you don't score runs, well, then yeah, it's very difficult to win games in Major League Baseball. And the Nats handled business the first couple of games. Now they have an opportunity here to sweep the Baltimore Orioles, which I guess you can say it's a rival of sort, right? What are they, about an hour apart, those ballparks? But I can tell you this, if I'm the Orioles, the last guy that I want to see is Mackenzie Gore. And that's exactly who they're going to see here tonight for the Washington Nats. Now, you may rewind, and Baltimore can't hit left-handed pitching. That's a problem. We just saw Parker a couple of days ago there almost throw a complete game 1-hit shutout. They did eventually go to the bullpen, Washington, which is always a sweat. But they are completely lost. They're hitting 165 against lefties this season here. They cannot hit lefties. And one of the best on the mound here tonight with the young arm there for the Nats and Mackenzie Gore. Strikeout prop somewhere around 6.5. I believe it was bet up to 7.5 already. You're also seeing a lot of Washington money come in. The old saying we like to have is, don't catch a falling knife, and the Baltimore Orioles are a falling knife. No need to try to catch them on the upswing. No need to, well, they're due. That is not handicapping. That is a way to burn money. They are bad, and they're sending out, is it Maury Povich? It might as well be Maury Povich at this point, because maybe he can pitch better than Cade Povich, who they are throwing out there tonight. It's not going to end up well, I think, for the Baltimore Orioles until they can get some arms back. This is not a pitcher I would bet that they turn things around at the plate against. I also don't like the Washington Nationals bullpen. So a first 5 best bet for me tonight with the Washington Nationals here early in the game. First 5 handling business at home. Don't forget, we do have also Jacob deGrom on the mound tonight in the late game, taking on Ginn of the Athletics, a 5-2 Athletics win last night. Now deGrom and the Rangers are going to try to end their misery here and maybe bounce back, but slight favorite deGrom tonight on the road in Sacramento against the Athletics. laying probably right around that minus 125, 130. I can't buy Texas. Looks like Seager pulled his hamstring last night. Looks like he's not going to be in the lineup here for the Rangers, who are having a hard enough time scoring runs and hitting the ball with any consistency. So it could be an upset with the home dog here tonight with the Athletics, and that'll be your late game. But coming up, of course, top of the hour, the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons will also take center stage as their game 3 of their series, knotted up 1 apiece, will take place. Knicks a slight road favorite in this one tonight. We've seen the unders in many of these series take center stage. Will that be the case again tonight? Listed at around 217. We'll have much more on this game, plus OKC, Memphis, Denver, and the Clippers, not to mention my Florida Panthers taking on the Lightning in about 20 minutes. We'll talk more as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on a very special NFL Draft Day edition. Coming up 7:30 Eastern Time, we will pass the baton to the fine folks back at the studio live tonight for a very, I love these in-game live special editions. Draft Central here, round 1 coming your way. And there's already a lot being made here of the top 5 picks. Of course, Shedeur Sanders at the top of mind here seems to be the narrative that everybody leading up into the draft, is he worth it? Is he not worth it? Let's not forget, Colorado did retire his number. Why, I have absolutely no idea, but maybe that counts for something. Not really quite sure what he accomplished at Colorado to get him his number retired. However, that doesn't seem to impress the NFL teams because more negativity, not so much for who Shedeur Sanders is, but they don't think he's going to be an NFL franchise quarterback. And I don't think he's going to walk in on day one and help any team at this point. So I do think the ceiling is pretty high for him. But in this year's draft, the question is, what are we willing to sacrifice to get a guy 2-3 years, maybe 4 years down the road that can really be a franchise player? It's a very strange situation here tonight, but maybe the one narrative that's very strange to me is Ashton Genty now being a minus 250 favorite to go fifth to the Jacksonville Jaguars. How a running back in this day and age. And I get it. The kid was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. He was great. But he played at Boise State. Okay? He played in the Mountain West. Totally different here. This is going to be a interesting night here, especially if we get a running back going as the 5th overall pick when ton of offensive linemen, ton of defensive linemen, guys that can anchor both sides of the football for at least a decade here. A lot of great offensive linemen, in fact, in the top of this draft. Teams like the New York Jets would be crazy to do anything other than start building that line. And teams like, and I'm pretty sure the Patriots sitting at number 4 and their new head coach there, Mike Vrabel, will absolutely look to start building both sides of the lines, offensive and defensive. It's a good draft for that. Not a lot of great. I believe the number of quarterbacks taken in the first round was 2.5. I did bet the under, and even that was pretty juiced at that point a couple of weeks ago. But I don't see, no way do I see more than, or 3 quarterbacks for that matter, drafted in the first round in this one. Not a quarterback heavy draft, but certainly a consensus when it comes to who's going overall. And that is, Cam Ward has never missed he's never not thrown an interception or seen one he didn't like. And I don't know how that is going to translate into the NFL, but it would appear good old Cam Ward is destined at this point to the Tennessee Titans as the first overall pick there. Jackson Dart would be the 3rd name, but Cam Ward, loved him, saw him a lot here at the University of Miami. And listen, nothing not to like. The kid is a gamer. And when he's taking on inferior competition, he looks like a absolute amazing talent. The problem is he's not going to be taking on North Carolina Central anymore. He's going to actually be playing other NFL players, and that worries me, but it doesn't worry the Tennessee Titans. So kudos to them, or does it? Could we be looking at maybe, just maybe, a trade at the top of the board here? A lot still to be determined. Coming up here, 7:30 Eastern time, we'll have the NFL draft coverage for you. In the meantime, at the top of the hour, we don't have to wait much longer. We got game 1 of the NBA slate tonight featuring the New York Knicks getting ready to take on the Detroit Pistons and what has evolved into quite a physical series going on right now. And poor Jalen Brunson got a big grunt of criticism there during the week after missing a couple of shots down late in that game 2 against the Pistons. But listen, the Knicks had already won game 1, although they had to come back in unbelievable fashion there, thanks to Karl Anthony Towns having a big game. Brunson may have been a little too involved and, live and die by what Jalen Brunson does. I think Thibs and company will change that here tonight. I think you'll see some other guys get involved, namely Karl Anthony Towns in this game. And I do think that the Knicks have a really good opportunity to bounce back like they have done all year, by the way. I mean, Thibs, as the head coach of the New York Knicks, he has done really, really good on bouncing back. Number one, they've been a great road team throughout the year, but they've also been very good when they are a favorite of under 6 points throughout the Thibs era here. He has been very, very good getting this team to come back as a small favorite, whether it be on the road or at Madison Square Garden. The numbers don't lie. In fact, I believe the number is 38-20. That's pretty impressive here when they are a road favorite by 6 or fewer points. Meanwhile, you're talking about a Pistons, very young Pistons team, just 8-10 straight up as a home underdog under JB Bickerstaff this year. And don't forget, Bickerstaff was the head coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers prior to this gig here with Detroit. And a big reason why he is no longer with the Cleveland Cavaliers is because the ownership just wasn't impressed enough with his in-series adjustments with the talent they had with the Cavs. And we're seeing the Cavs handle business rather easily with the Miami Heat right now. But that was a big reason why Cleveland moved on from him. So the question is, are we going to see a different JB Bickerstaff coach when it comes to the Detroit team tonight? Time will tell. We'll talk more about the NBA games as Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid. This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. Be EJ. SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on this Thursday in the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we're getting ready, of course, actually for the puck to drop here first as the NHL playoffs back underway here tonight, and the Battle of Florida will rage on here as the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning getting ready here at Amelia Arena in Tampa Bay for Game 2. It was, what's the word I'm looking? Not close, even remotely close in Game 1. when the entire world seemed to think that we could stick a fork in the champs. That was ill-advised here. 5.5 is the total. Again, slight favorite for Tampa Bay. Let's bring in our good friend Tom Vecchio here, who is keeping an eye on the board here. And I got to tell you, I mean, it feels still like a pick'em price. It should be. The total 5.5 is interesting. Looks like it's starting to get bet up a little bit more here. Some 6 are starting to pop up, but what happens in game 2 with the Panthers and the Lightning tonight, Tom?
Well, as for the total, I would not be surprised to see it bounce back on the other side and be a clear under. As we've seen a lot of these games, like Winnipeg, St. Louis, massive over in the first game, clear under in the second game, kind of this, bouncing back and forth. But I think Tampa wins this game. I'm on their money line. If there's any coaches in the league that we would expect to have game-by-game corrections, it would be John Cooper, it would be Paul Maurice on the other side, Bruce Cassidy with Vegas, like some of the best coaches in the league. We just expect them to do that because that's what they've done to this point in their careers. That's why they're winners. So I like Tampa. I do lean with the under, and if you can get a 6, it's obviously better than the 5.5. But, realistically, I see this game ending 3-2. Maybe that 4-2 empty netter pushes it over the 5.5, so you can get the 6 absolutely. But I do like Tampa on the money line. Like you said, they got beat big time in game 1, but they're a good team, and like the money line and the series price really overall suggested that this series is a coin flip. I'll take them to even it up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it would not be shocked. The zigzag has worked well in a number of series here on the NBA side. I think you have 2 teams that have been there and done this before. They know each other. It's kind of a shame it has to happen in the first round this way, but I do think it's going to be a fun series. And it wouldn't shock. What do you think it goes, Tom? 6?
Minimum 6. I have a Tampa ticket at 17-1, so I'm rooting for Tampa. I also have a Winnipeg ticket at 20-1, so I would love for those teams to continue to advance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good night here. And now, of course, you also have situations here in the first round where some teams are heading home down 0-2 here, and it looks like Toronto taking on Ottawa tonight. That's what Ottawa finds themselves looking at, a 2-0 hole at home, slight favorite. Are we thinking Ottawa can grab one back and get into this series?
You would like to think so just from a viewing perspective, but ultimately, I talked about it on the early line this morning. It's got to be first period under 1.5 goals. It was at -104. Then we've seen the Maple Leafs offense is awesome, and they are pushing the Senators around. So the Senators don't want to turn this into a track meet. Like, the scoring has been all on the Maple Leaf side of things. They can't keep things under control. It's their first home playoff game since 2017, 2018, I think it is. Like, they can't turn this into another 5-3 type of game, regardless if they win or lose. Like, you don't want to increase the variance with the scoring. They have to start things off controlled. Despite all the emotions, it has to be in first period under. I think they win this game 2-1, maybe 3-1.
It's interesting, too, because, I mean, listen, Ottawa knows they can beat Toronto, right? I mean, they were 3-0 in the regular season against them, so they understand that. They've also outshot them by a significant margin in both games here. They've also outhit the Maple Leafs in both games here, so they just can't find the net. That's the problem here, and that's been the big difference. Can that change here tonight? We will find out, though, as they are a slight favorite at home to get back into it. And then, of course, we'll talk more about this on the other side, Tommy, coming up with Las Vegas and Minnesota. There are a lot of folks that think Minnesota, now healthy, is a very giant pain in the you-know-what here to Vegas, who a lot of people had and going right down the line in the West to be able to win it. We'll get your thoughts on this game and that series, because everyone I've asked this week about who is the dog that we should be looking at in round 1, there's a lot of consensus here that maybe Minnesota is the team who's an underdog that can actually pull out the outright upset in the series. Not to mention, coming up first pitch, Major League Baseball with Cade Povich. We'll see if he can win, too. Game Time Decisions coming up next here on The Grid.
to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today. Only on SportsGrid. This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. Be EJ. SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on this Thursday to SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri, as we welcome back in our good friend Tom Vecchio here, getting ready for a big night on the ice here as the playoffs are back and in full effect here. Round 1 games. We talked, of course, the Battle of Florida there, the Lightning taking on the Panthers. Puck dropping here in just a minute. And then, of course, top of the hour, Toronto and Ottawa, the Battle of Ontario. And then all of a sudden, we got this battle out west between Minnesota and Las Vegas. That's coming up 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. And Minnesota needed that game, too. They got it. Although they've been pesky in both those games against Las Vegas, who arguably one of the hotter teams coming into this round 1 matchup. Minnesota played hurt all year long. They didn't have a couple of their top guys. Everyone is back. Minnesota wasn't good at home here. Can they pull out? And look at this price as a home dog here from Minnesota. What are we thinking?
So I want to say under, and I have Vegas winning the series. So it's tough to bet on a certain team, but I think taking Minnesota at home, I think objectively offers value, just where you get them at a plus 136. I really don't mind that, but if you were to be betting Vegas, like, what's the best way to approach it? Do you want to lay the money? Do you want to take the puck line? Whatever it might be. I generally don't like going to 60-minute lines in the postseason just because so many of these games do go to overtime. But you get Vegas at even money to win the game in 60 minutes. So that's a 3-way money line. I like that for where the price is at plus 100. If you were to shop around and see this at a minus 120, or if it just was minus 120 everywhere, I wouldn't be making the same argument. But I think I can make arguments for both sides. I like Vegas, I like Minnesota, but I like Vegas in a very specific way, which would be the 60-minute line, the 3-way money line.
We're going to get it done there. All right, like that. How about Major League Baseball here tonight as we get ready? 9 games in total. We had a couple of day games. We do have a doubleheader. Already 1 half in the books as Reagans takes on German Marquez. And shocker, Colorado loses another game, 7-4. The nightcap coming up after that. But we do have an interesting one coming up here with Baltimore, who's a hot mess, Tom. They are not good. And it all starts with the pitching, which they don't have any of. The bullpen hasn't been good, but the starting pitching is decimated here. So now I got Povich and a Baltimore lineup who can't hit lefties have to take on one of the better ones in Mackenzie Gore. I don't want to catch a falling knife, and I want nothing to do with a team that, supposed to win or could win or should. Yeah, like I don't see Baltimore getting back on track against Mackenzie Gore. How about you?
I don't. This morning on the early line, I talked about Cade Povich under 15.5 outs. I said, it's a pitching prop. He's their starting pitcher. Was minus 130 this morning. If you can find it, I would play it up to minus 140. I do think it's a good spot. He's a pitcher I've talked about before. I have him on my dynasty fantasy team. So I have faith in him long term, but we haven't hit that spot yet. He's a highly touted prospect. His walk rate's approaching 10%. His strikeout rate's only 20%. His xFIP is over 4. He's just getting hit around a lot. And the fly balls with the Nationals team, not to mention the Orioles not hitting, the Nationals team, this team is hitting right now. They got some talent at the top of that lineup. James Wood, Dylan Cruz, they have some power, and we're getting none of that from the Orioles side of things. That even if he gave up 4 or 5 runs, if they were also scoring 4 or 5 runs, you go, okay, let's leave him out there. It's a tie game. But if he's going to be giving up 5 runs and all of a sudden they can't be scoring because Mackenzie Gore is awesome, they're going to pull him.
Yep. Yeah, in a heartbeat. And again, Gore, they can't hit. They're hitting 165 against lefties. I mean, Parker almost had a complete game 1-hit shutout there. And I don't trust the problem is I don't trust the Washington bullpen. But I do trust at least enough early on, maybe in the first 5 here with Washington, to be able to limit the lineup of the Orioles. I think that game coming up here in just a couple of minutes. I think the other game coming up between Tampa Bay and Arizona, it's not been a good version of Corbin Burns lately. He's another guy I'd worry that the market prices him like it's the Corbin Burns of old here. What do you see in this one tonight?
Well, I'm seeing that the Rays, nice come from behind victory last night. Corbin Carroll continues to be awesome for the Diamondbacks, but like you said, I think it's a bit too much on the price. And I know it sounds weird for a former Cy Young winner. He's at home. He's going up against a Rays team that we don't necessarily trust, in an overwhelming capacity. They have a lot of good young talent, but they don't have the consistent hitters. I see this game playing to the over. I really do. We have seen a high level of inconsistency from Corbin Burns. I think Rasmussen on the other side, I think he's a good pitcher. I think he really is, but there's a lot of offense on the Diamondbacks lineup as well. Naylor's off to a good start, and if you give me a spot where Corbin Carroll's on base, Perdomo's on base, they're bringing in whether it's Pavin Smith or Naylor, Lourdes Gurriel's starting to get some power going. They have the options to get it done combined with the power, at least from the lefties on the Tampa side of things, Aranda, Lau. I'd like some offense tonight.
Oh, looking for some offense here. How about in Sacramento? We didn't get a ton of it from the Rangers last night. Corey Seager not in the lineup tonight. DeGrom is on the mound, but the velocity is not what it used to be there. And mixed results so far from him. I know it's going to take him a little while, obviously, to stretch out after the surgery again. But I don't know. The Athletics here at plus money seem tempting for a Rangers team that it can't hit. It's just not the Rangers of old here.
It's not, and the Athletics are a fun lineup, right? They got some. Yeah. They've just brought up Nick Kurtz yesterday for his first ever game. He was the top hitter in the minor leagues to start the year. Between him, between Jacob Wilson, between Soderstrom, between Lance Butler, they have some really fun young players. And that park, as we know, is just playing to offense. Lots of scoring. Yep. So the name value that DeGrom brings, I still think maybe lingering a little bit, whether it be his strikeout props, the money lines, the totals, whatever it might be. And I think there's going to be some serious value in going on the other side of that. You're like, oh, DeGrom's on the mound. There's going to be no offense. Well, actually, it could be an Athletics team total. It could just be the game total overall, just because the park in Sacramento is playing to offense. So when we get to these spots like a DeGrom or Verlander, when Scherzer comes back, just be on the other side of it, and you'll probably be net positive when it's all said and done, especially if you don't have to lay juice.
We're watching. I can't believe Pittsburgh, I think, has won back-to-back games. And Heaney throws a shutout last night, which is hilarious on a lot of levels against his former teams. But, I mean, the Angels tonight I can't figure Anderson out. I keep waiting for the wheels to fall off, and this guy keeps throwing gems and keeping his team in games here. They are a favorite not to get swept, the Angels here. Do we have enough faith in them to be able to win this game? Or do we have enough of faith in the Pirates to go for 3 in a row?
I don't have faith in a lot of things. I don't like Tyler Anderson for the sole fact that I constantly get it wrong because I bet against him because he's not a good pitcher. And yet he still comes up with wins where his xFIP is so much higher than his ERA. And he's due for regression. And that just doesn't always seem to come. He went through 6 innings of no hit versus the Astros. Granted, a couple weeks ago, the Astros are not the same offense they were last year or the year before, but they're still a good offense. I think the Angels come away with the win. Do I want to bet them minus 158? Probably not. Do I want to wait maybe for an in-game number? I can convince myself of a minus 130, minus 120. That I can do. I think the Angels win. You just got to find the right way to bet them.
I think the first 5 is probably the best way to look at it, given the fact that Tyler Anderson has not allowed a run in his last 2 starts in 11 2/3 innings, and Mozinski hasn't struck anybody out, I think, in his last. He's not missing bats. He's the 5th start. He's a converted reliever that they're using as the 5th starter right now. It's first 5. The bats got to wake up against early here, because I don't know how long, Tyler. I'm with you. Tyler Anderson, how much longer are you going to run this charade here? Because your numbers are horrific, and yet nobody seems to be able to hit you, and I can't figure out why there. All right, Tom, when we get back here, I got a couple of questions, of course, about the New York Knicks and Detroit coming up. We got Denver and the Clippers tonight, which I think is also very interesting. And there are some thoughts here about OKC and Memphis I want to get from you as Game Time Decisions continues next year on the Grid.
This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. Be EJ. SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, joined by our good friend Tom Vecchio. Do want to remind you, though, coming up 7:30 Eastern, we'll have a very special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming your way as the first round of the NFL Draft will be front and center tonight. In the meantime, we've got one NHL playoff game underway right now. No score, Tampa and the Panthers. Although they did just hit the post, but that did not work out for Tampa. Still no score there. We got the Knicks and Detroit coming up here, Tom, in the NBA Game 3, and what has been a very, and I mean very physical series Not just this series. There's been a number of series in which the refs have, and I love it that the refs have swallowed the whistles. We're not getting 130, 125 games. 11-5 to this point, I believe, to the under is what we have seen in the first round of the playoffs. To me, this is another under game. I don't see this being a high-flying game, but man, Isaiah Stewart would be great if Detroit had access to him and if he was available to play, but he is not. He's already been ruled out again for Game 3. The Knicks look to have everyone ready to bounce back, and that's what they've done on the road, not just this season, but under Thibs. They're a pretty good small road favorite under Thibs. 36-20, I believe, was the record. It just feels like this could be a game where the Knicks make the necessary adjustments and come out and get one on the road.
They do, and frankly, I have a play on the Knicks player prop, which I'll get to in a second. But if there's a play for me in this game, it's going to be the Knicks money line. Like we've talked about before, Joe, doing in-game live, where it's like it's a 1.5. Yep. Might as well have some interest in the money line as well. We don't want to mess around with things. We want to start securing some wins. And this is a game that they do bounce back. And how does that start? It starts with Karl-Anthony Towns actually being involved in the offense. The final 18 minutes of Game 2, not a single field goal attempt from Karl-Anthony Towns. So I like him over 4.5 points in the first quarter. I spoke about it this morning on the early line. That was at plus 102. That line has moved to 5.5 at minus 144 on the over. That's a different story. The 4.5 we can talk ourselves into because Karl-Anthony Towns likes to step out and hit a three. So he can get this done in 2 shots, a 3 and a basket down low, or 2 baskets down low, one of them with an N1. So the 5.5, I would shop for the best line available. I would not lay minus 144 on a first quarter prop. But plus 102 on over 4.5 is a different story if you can find something around there.
I could not agree more here. And I do think points are going to be hard to come by in this one here. It's listed as, and ironically enough, the over has been getting bet. It opened up at 215.5. I'm seeing 217, and I'm not buying it. I think this is going to be another physical game here. 105 wins this game as far as I'm concerned there. Then, of course, we have, and this is an interesting game, 9:30 Eastern time, Memphis and Oklahoma City. And you and I were just laughing off air because I'm going, in what world is Memphis going to be competitive here? 9.5. It opened up at 8.5. There might be a 10 out there, but really 9.5 is what I'm seeing here. And Oklahoma City's not going to win this game by double digit. Like, what am I missing? What have we seen from Memphis that leads us to believe this is going to come down to the wire?
The saying that I keep thinking about, seeing these lines for Memphis is like, what have you done for me lately? And the answer is nothing. You fired your coach. You're a sinking ship to end the season. You're getting blown out by 50 points in a playoff game. So the answer for this, as we were, talking off air, as you alluded to, it's OKC minus the 9.5. I think you could take OKC conceivably up to an alt spread of minus 12.5, 13.5, somewhere around there. Their team total over and the Memphis team total under. You sweep the board. Memphis is done. They're going to make changes in the offseason. This is just a formality at this point. Maybe they win Game 4. It just because there's some amount of pride at a certain point, but then OKC wraps us up in 5 games at most. It is all OKC. They've blown teams out consistently from the start of the year to now.
Unbelievable, by the way. A one-timer is good. The Florida Panthers strike first. 1-0 over Tampa. Right after they just killed a power play, they were able to get a one-timer in there. Schmidt gets it in. Pass Vasilevsky, 1-0 Panthers in this one. So any which way we can with Oklahoma City and Memphis, we want to look to fade Memphis. Team totals across the board, anything along those lines. Props. I still think the under is alive and well. It's been bet up to almost 230 now. I'm not buying that either. It's the Denver Clippers game coming up at 10 o'clock, which, good luck. It's a coin flip game. To me, it's a coin flip series, even though the Clippers now have been bet up to, 5.5?
Yeah.
That's a big number, is it not, Tom?
It's way too much, and I'm on the Clippers 5.5. I'm going to be on their money line when it's all said and done. Or I should say I'm on the Clippers. I'm on the Nuggets 5.5. I'm going to get on the Nuggets money line when it's all said and done. I spoke about it this morning. I said I really like the Clippers. And, when we're looking at game 2, Denver barely lost that game, right? They had 20 turnovers to the Clippers 11 and barely lost. They out-rebounded the Clippers 50-32 and barely lost. By all accounts, the Nuggets played pretty well outside of the turnovers, but they played pretty well. They held the Clippers to a lower field goal percentage in game 2 than they did in game 1, and Denver still barely lost. So when we're adding the scenes together, it's like, man, Denver barely got beat, or they lost, or whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, they didn't really lose the game by a significant margin. So we have a team that won one game, lost another game by 3. We have a coin flip series that everyone agreed to coming in that we didn't know who was going to win. It was going to go 6-7 games. Congrats if you picked a winner, because we don't know who it is. But if you can get 5.5 points with Denver, you just might as well take them, because if they win this game, no one's going to be surprised. So I like Denver. And yes, I think they come back after a close loss in game 2.
The really scary part for Denver is that we saw playoff Kawhi Leonard again in game 2. We saw the guy that we all knew is in there, and it was just a matter of him being healthy enough. And my goodness, Joker didn't make a difference who it was. Wow. And we've watched him do that a number of times on the way to a ring. So I think it's a great game here tonight. I'm looking forward to it for sure there. Tom, it's always a pleasure getting to hang with you, my man. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the games here tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. Be EJ. SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we look to close out this first hour together. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by, but it's a very special edition here of Game Time Decisions on this Thursday, as we've got just about 35 minutes away from in-game live Draft Central coming your way live here on the SportsGrid Network, as nobody will have a better first-round coverage than we will, as all the NFL first-round picks come your way with instant analysis here, something you don't want to miss. And it's all going to start with really the big question to answer is, where is Shedeur Sanders going here tonight? I thought it was very funny today that a lot of the headlines that I've seen across the board on social media were stories about Aaron Rodgers in the green room back in the day, and how they're associating, could he still be in the green room and waiting to get his name called by the time the end of the first round comes. We're talking about a guy that for the most part, we thought him and his teammate, Travis Hunter, would have gone number 1 and number 2, would have been, two, if not 2 of the top 3 picks in the draft to, well, we know Travis Hunter is going to be picked number 2 at the very least, or worse, number 3 here, depending on what the Browns are going to do. But it has been certainly over the last couple of months. Now we're talking about Shedeur Sanders does he even go in the first round? That is absolutely crazy. But there's also not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. And we know that Cam Ward is your likely first player to be drafted off the top of the board there to Tennessee. But I have, over the years, I think we've all learned that don't believe anything that you hear leading up to the draft. There's a lot of misdirection happening here and leaks coming out of organizations where they want other teams to think they fall in love with a guy. So maybe a team who really wants him or needs that player will pick up the phone and offer some sort of trade. There's a lot of that going on behind the scenes. What I don't think we're going to get, and we'll talk more about this beginning at the top of the hour, but whether or not there's actually going to be a lot of movement here. Will there be a lot of first-round trades? There are a lot of under the radar, a lot of franchise offensive linemen, I think defensive linemen, guys that could anchor both the offense and defensive lines for the next decade for teams in this draft. They're not big-name guys because they're linemen, and we know that. However, there is a lot here that can be gained by teams going up there and maybe making a move or two in order to go get a franchise left tackle or a center or a guard or a defensive end or defensive tackle. There's a lot of that could be on the board, but are teams willing to sacrifice assets in order to do so? That is the big question here tonight. But Cam Ward, no doubt, is expected to be your number 1 pick quarterback to the Tennessee Titans, which I think is ironic that they're going from a quarterback who couldn't tell what the other team's jerseys look like and threw him the ball a lot to another quarterback who, likes to throw the ball to the other team a lot. And I am not sure how that is going to change here coming up for Cam Ward. And I loved him at the U, loved him at Washington State, but he was a INT machine. So maybe Tennessee thinks that is all behind him. Time will tell. I am still having a hard time with the Ashton Genty going with the 5th pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Been quite a while since we've seen some running backs that in an organization like Jacksonville, who has just paid a franchise quarterback, locked him up for the next 5 years for $225 million and didn't do a great job of protecting him. And you would think at the 5th pick that maybe, just maybe, an offensive lineman would be what's on the table. But Jacksonville again in flux, firing their coach. They got new organizational heads there. It is once again a hot mess in Jacksonville. So it doesn't surprise me that might be the direction they're going. I just don't know how practical it is there. But we'll know soon enough here. We've got plenty more coming up on the first round of the NFL draft, plus an update in the NHL when Game Time Decisions continues on the Grid.
This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. BEJ SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it. You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. A special edition here, as we'll be with you for about the next 28 minutes or so, and then we'll pass the baton off because we do have a special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming your way. Tonight is the first round of the NFL Draft, where hopes and dreams for us Jet fans will be no higher than they are tonight. And then, of course, we'll hear the name and go, who is that? And then we'll go back to, well, the Jets, they stink and they won't go anywhere. But hopes and dreams tonight in the first round of the NFL Draft. Also, hopes and dreams for New York Knicks fans as they get ready for Game 3 against the Detroit Pistons as the NBA playoffs round 1 continue. And how about the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs right now, one game underway, and already we had a quick goal by the Panthers. They're up 1-0 on Tampa, and we have no score, by the way, with Baltimore and Washington, but we do have a handful of other Major League Baseball games getting ready to go. And let's welcome in our good friend Sean Higgs here while we can, because Sean, there is nothing like the optimism that comes with the first round of the NFL Draft. And as a lifelong Jet fan who likes pain, apparently, tonight is the night, man. This is where, all right, we got it right. We're good to go. But my goodness, this draft to me is all about offensive linemen and defensive linemen that can anchor those groups for about the next 10 guys that they're not household names. It's not a big quarterback draft. But something tells me guys like Vrabel are going to get it right at the number 4 pick there, and they're going to start building from the line out. Teams like Jacksonville at 5, looking at a running back, you can't. Stupid is stupid. I don't know what else to say, Sean, but it's a bit head scratching. Some of the names associated with the teams that we've seen come out here for the NFL Draft tonight. Yep.
You just benched your $250 million quarterback for a third round pick. What was he? Third pick overall in Mac Jones. This is, let's take a Mountain West. No offense to the cat. I'll never be as good as a Mountain West running back.
Nope.
Ever. Not in my wildest dreams. But that's where we're going. Like you said, you got bigger problems here. How about maybe a wide receiver for the guy? You want to do offense? How about throw the ball? How about he's a quarterback? How about you're paying him $250 million? How about he throws it instead of hand? Didn't you try that with his teammate at Clemson? NTN, didn't you try that combo already? We're going to do it again.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't need any defensive help. I'm sure you don't need a lineman. Offensive lineman, the unsexiest pick in the draft. Nobody's happy when their team takes an offensive lineman. But that guy's going to be an all-pro for 10 to 12 years when you're taking in the top 7. Most times they're really good players, last a long time, Joe. Genty?
Listen, that's how you build it. You have to build it from the center position out on the offense, right? And from the out in on the defense, right? Everything else after that, what matters? Doesn't matter at all.
If your quarterback's on his back, he's not going to be able to throw the ball. If there's people in the backfield tackling your running back who you took at 4, 5, 3, whenever overall, he's not going to be able to do much. Start at the wall. You need people to block first to get the offense going. You had how many wins did you have last year? 4. How many wins did Jacksonville have last year? 4, 5.
Yeah, 4 too many. But they were close a couple of times there, Sean. What is your opinion on Shedeur Sanders here? All of a sudden he was going to be him and his teammate Travis Hunter at 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden now we're hearing conversations and comparisons to Aaron Rodgers in the green room there in the first. Wait,
how is he considered a top 2 pick for? I mean, listen, the whole getting their uniforms retired. I mean, there's guys who then he won the national title in '91 who don't have their jerseys retired. I get it. He's a good. He's now Hunter. You want to hang that guy's thing up? I get it. Sanders is. I don't want to say like a dime a dozen, but he's what a lot of quarterbacks are in college. He put up okay numbers. Were you really enamored by him? I wasn't that enamored by him. Now, does he got the pedigree because of his father, and he's talented. Maybe he gets in the right spot. It's okay. Is he a first-round pick? I don't know if he's a first-round pick. You won. How many games they win over there? They win a bowl game. Where was he in the big-time matchups? How did he perform? And again, people, I mean, like guys knock, not just on this show, wherever you say you knock down these kids. They're fabulous. I get it, but is he that high of a draft pick with everything around him too? You got the whole how he is, his whole aura. That's a whole nother thing. You drop it into a bad team. That could be a bad situation. That could be a bad. Granted, you didn't win a lot of Colorado, but this is the NFL now. You're going to go into some kind of crazy thing. The team starts off bad, and you're in the paper every day, and the fans are ripping you. I don't know if that guy's got the skin to handle that. That's
And
a circus.
they're definitely not retiring your jersey after your first 2 seasons with the team. So the draft.
They get that with a lot of these young guys, though. They hype these kids up, and we were talking about even here, just Cam Ward going to Tennessee, whatever. Didn't you just draft Will Levis? He was supposed to be the answer 2 years ago. Josh Fields was supposed to be the answer. Hey, look, now you got a new coach. I need my guy in here, my guy. Well, there's 3 years wasted, 4 years wasted, and then some other coach comes in. Hey, we got to get my guy in here. Cast him away. Let the guys develop some. Let them sit and develop behind a veteran. Good, bad, or indifferent how good the guy is. He's got to learn the league. We've seen it.
Amen. There is a lot of bad decisions that are going to be made tonight, and that's why I love the popcorn and let the fun begin here. But we do have the NBA playoffs going on here tonight, Sean. The Knicks in Detroit in Game 3. Am I the only one, by the way, Sean, that sees these games are not being officiated like they were back in, January or February? The physicality in this series has been crazy, and yet I'm seeing a lot of money to the over in this game here. What do you like in this spot?
Well, we saw last time, we saw a couple overs. Before that, night before that, we saw a bunch of unders. I think it really depends on, again, you're going to D up a little more. There might be some foul calls, get someone physical, and that's fine. Swallow the whistles, please. Can we play some defense? We don't need like 156 to 145 games, So I don't mind that. Today, as much as I like Detroit here, right? I think they gave the Knicks all the candle 2 games. It could be up 2-0. Why do I feel like they're just begging you here to take New York with the points here? I like Detroit. I do. I think They're home. When's the last time they had a playoff game? 13, 14, 15 years ago, however long it was. So the atmosphere will be right for them. Can they handle it? Do they have a dry spot like they did in game one and they can't find the basket? I don't know. Although, who's on that? Vecchio was on before. They're talking about Karl Anthony Towns with his I like him. I like the points and assists over for him. 24.5, I think the number is. I think he's going to be aggressive, and if he's not putting in a basket, I think it may be dish off. I like that. I like that angle for Towns, but he definitely's got to do more. They were killing him in the New York press. The Knicks fans up in arms, not happy.
Yep,
they were ready for a sweep out there.
And I like to remind folks too. Again, Bickerstaff, love him, but the reason he's not the coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers anymore is because his in-series management and adjustments were not great, and ownership saw it too. He didn't have a ton of success there with the Cavs, with a lot more talent than he's got right now with Detroit. So we'll talk more about it, though. Sean Higgs with us here. Game Time Decisions on the Grid continues.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by. We got a little something for everybody here tonight. The NBA playoffs off and running. Knicks out in front 8-1 quickly here against the Detroit Pistons Game 3, and the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, out 1-0 over Tampa as they close out the first period. Joining me, Sean Higgs, hanging out for another segment with us here. And we're talking the NBA playoffs here. Sean, we've got the Knicks out in front early. In what world is Memphis going to keep this game competitive here tonight? Because something tells me this is going to be business as usual for OKC and another double-digit win. What do you think we get here tonight in this one?
Let's be honest here. You lose by 51 or whatever the heck they lost by. You think they're going to show up the next game. Sure, they show up, and they still lose by 20 or 19. OKC's they've owned these guys. Every game is a 15-plus point win for them. I'll lay. You want to lay 10? I'll lay 10 with you. I like the over more, though. I like the over more, Joe. You just cause if Memphis is going to show any kind of fight here, you're home. This is where you're going to score more points. You're down 0-2. Again, let's be honest. They're two embarrassing losses, one worse than the next. You're not going to score 120 some of the points here at home. So I would lean over here, but how do you not take OKC? I think OKC's been the class all year long. They've been in the class by themselves in the West. And part of that, let's be honest, Joe, a lot of teams, we got a lot of load management guys out here. We take games off. These guys didn't. They were all gas, no break all season, covering machines, scoring, number one offense, number one defense. Why don't they win by 15 again here? But I prefer the over in this matchup, though. But I'd still lay it with OKC. I think they're the West representatives. I think they're the best team in the West this year. It's easy to say now at the end of the season, but they got 68 freaking wins. Memphis now we're gonna show Memphis to come back and we're gonna win 4 in a row here. Come on, they're not winning. This is a clean sweep. If Memphis wins a game, I'll be shocked if they win one of these at home.
No, and they've got cruise tickets to Aruba. They don't want to miss their call at the port. They've got other plans here right now with that dumpster fire of an organization. The late game to me is probably the best series of the first round. Denver and the Clippers to me is a truly coin flip. But the scary thing for me, Sean, is that I saw the killer back in Kawhi Leonard, and what he did in that game too. We've seen him do that a few times on his way to a ring. Now all of a sudden a fully healthy Kawhi, but has it gone too far? 5.5 against Denver tonight? What do we do here?
Well, let's just start with the Kawhi. That's the big question mark. He looks good so far, but he looked good last year, and all of a sudden he's out with an injury. So that's the big everything hanging over that squad. Did they win without him this year? Yes, but he is the proverbial difference maker. But this line here, I fell for it last night too with the Warriors line. I kept getting bigger, 3, 3.5, 4s. I'm like, how do you not take the Warriors with that kind of number? Like Denver, I don't care that it's basically a one-man show. If Murray's healthy, whatever. It's how do you not take Joker and 5 points? You're thinking the guy is a beast. You want to take it, but I think they're just trying to suck you in. They want to suck you in. Why do I feel like it's just the Clippers going away? And we had 2 close games, and now this one's 5.5 even?
Yep.
I don't know. I'd have to lean Clippers there. It's just one of those things. You look at the line, it's totally not what you think it would be. So I'd lean favorite there.
I'm with you, man. They're begging you with this number to take Denver. And by the way, I think also Michael Porter Jr. still questionable in this game here. Yeah, so we'll keep it. If he's a go and is cleared, I would imagine we'll get a point and a half better here for Denver. But they're begging you at this price to take Denver, and I'm with you. That's got trap written all over it here, Sean.
It does.
I'll
still swallow it, though. Let's be honest. Still going to be like, you know what? I'll take Denver here, 5.5. I got it.
Yep.
It's like.
I agree. Yep. I agree 100%. All right, so we've got some NBA games. I want to get some MLB action for you in here too, as well as shocker right now. You're not going to believe it, but the Kansas City Royals are beating the Colorado Rockies. Shocker, the Colorado Rockies aren't winning a game here. But we do have some late games I think are fascinating here, including the Tampa Bay Rays taking on Arizona. Corbin Burns at home is just a -130 favorite. Interesting here. Rasmussen going for Tampa. Big comeback win for Tampa last night. I don't like what I'm seeing from Corbin Burns. How about you?
I love the signing in the offseason. I figured you pencil him behind Gallen. It's great. Him, Gallen, Kelly. I thought Montu would bounce back. That guy ended up getting hurt. But I thought this was a good team. I thought it was a great signing. Now he's been pedestrian at best, which is why this line is what it is. I mean, he's a 5-inning guy. He does not strikeout rate's been going down the last couple of years. It's Rasmussen play here, and Tampa. you never know what you're getting out of Tampa, right? But when this cat pitches, Rasmussen, he's solid when he's out there. He's not gonna he'll give a run in 5 innings, 6 innings. He's more than pile stuff. It's short though. You see the 115, you're like, boy, is that worth taking a Tampa Bay team who's struggling? But it just shows you the guys making lines are smarter than all of us. You know, that they're airdropping supplies onto an island in the Caribbean for you. They know what they're doing. So this one I'm not going to overthink. It's Tampa Bay all the way for me here.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's the late game too with DeGrom on the mound. No Corey Seager. No, this team can't score in Sacramento where everyone seems to be able to score. Do we back DeGrom as a road favorite?
I like the under. It's come down from the opener 9, so 8.5. I mean, as much as DeGrom, listen, he's going to go 5. He's going to give up, maybe a run? Because we've seen runs scored here, but we've also seen some low-scoring games too. So I'm going to go under because that Texas lineup has not hit at all. Somehow they're 14-10 and in first place. But the lineup, look at the numbers. Just bad. I see a lot of 206s, just not hitting at all.
Yep.
So I'm under. If I'm doing something down there, I'd rather unders the way I'd go. Listen, DeGrom's great, but he's not what he was from 5-6 years ago. Give me the under.
Nope. Yep. And you're right. Opened up at 9. We're seeing 8.5s across the board here. I think that's a great look in that game there. Sean Higgs, appreciate it, brother. I know. I appreciate it, my man. Game Time Decisions continues here on the grid.
This is Greg. He bet a long snapper would go in the second round.
The long snapper from Florida is still waiting for his name to be called.
Now this is EJ. EJ tuned into SportsGrid's draft coverage. He checked the app, tracked the markets, followed the pros. He didn't guess. He knew. The EJ SportsGrid draft coverage starts Thursday at 7:30 p.m. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we get ready for the first round of the NFL Draft coming up here in just about 6 minutes. We will pass the baton off for a special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming your way. All of the picks in the first round with instant analysis coming up for you here on the SportsGrid Network. But before we do that, let's bring in our good friend George Kurtz here, who no doubt is watching My champion Florida Panthers up 1-0 over Tampa here, George. And it looks like business as usual for this team. And did you think it's bounce back time for Tampa? Is now the time, down 1-0, to jump in on the Tampa Bay Lightning here?
The entire NHL is probably not happy right now because the Florida Panthers are built for the playoffs. They are built for the playoffs. They are that kind of team. 7-game series, wear you down. And now they're back, they're healthy, and they've been a lot of people had Tampa Bay representing the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup. I mean, almost everybody had that, maybe them at Toronto. And Florida's saying, yeah, okay, keep underestimating us here. No, I wasn't betting on Tampa Bay tonight. I didn't bet Florida either, mind you. Thought this would be a good game. I went under. I thought maybe Vasilevsky would bounce back here tonight. But the entire NHL, I mean, the Florida Panthers putting everybody on notice. We are the defending Stanley Cup champs. We've been to the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row here, and we want to make it 3. They are showing you they are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference.
It looks like they ratcheted up a gear, and everyone made so much about that losing streak down the stretch, and like they cared if they were the 1, 2, or 3 seed. It didn't matter to them, and now we're seeing why here. Toronto no score with Ottawa. George, does Ottawa get back in? I mean, they've outshot them. They've out-hit them. They just can't find the back of the net here. So does that change at home for Ottawa tonight?
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily does here. And once again, this is great news for Toronto. What have we always criticized the Maple Leafs about? Oh, yeah, we know you guys can score. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, throw Tavares in here. We know you can score. Your defense has always been and your goaltending has been blah. All right, now all of a sudden Stolarz is standing up. He looks good. Remember, I don't want to say stole the job from Joseph Woll, but he won the right to start in the playoffs over Joseph Woll. They both played really good this season. So I think, once again, Toronto is a threat. Though my problem is, I think they'll take care of Ottawa. I think they'll win. I had it in 6 originally. Now I think it's probably 5. I sort of did expect Ottawa to win tonight. First game at home in a 7-game series, you win that, and then Toronto wins the next 2, and they move on here. Sort of what I'm seeing now here. I'm on the over originally in this game, so I don't like the fact that no scores, no goals in the first 10 minutes here. But I did think Ottawa would have a chance to come back tonight. But like I said, the sort of that first game at home bump, you win that, and then you quietly go away.
Talk to me about, I know Winnipeg is up 2-0, but they are not running over the St. Louis Blues by any stretch of the imagination. And Hellebuck is great at home, not so great his numbers on the road aren't as good as they were at home here. Does St. Louis get back into this one tonight?
I think they do. Once again, first home game, and you said it. Winnipeg may have won the first 2, but I mean, they probably should have been split, right? They probably should be 1-1 here. St. Louis didn't quite get the late goal. Kyle Connor scores twice, wins it for Peg here. I think, once again, St. Louis will get back in the game tonight. Similar game. I'm on the over as well. You're going to give me 5.5. I'm going to take the over. I think you get the 4-2. We're seeing a lot of empty net goals as well in the Stanley Cup playoffs here. So I'm on the Blues. I'm on the over. I think they do get back in this. And unlike when I say, like, Ottawa, if they win, they're still going to go away. St. Louis can win. I think this could still be a series.
Yes, I think so, too. I think it's far from over there. All right, George, we got a special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming up in just a couple of minutes. Who's the top 3 picks in your mock draft?
I think Cam Ward is going 1. It'd be a big shock if he wasn't, right? So he goes 1 here. 2 is getting more interesting. I don't know if it'll be Cleveland taking him, but Travis Hunter's going 2. It's just a matter of who. We hear a lot of noise that also there are picks there, but I think he's going there. The Giants are the more interesting one. The Giants are not taking a quarterback, mainly because Dable and Shen, they can't. All right? They can't wait for Sanders, Dart, Milroe, whoever to figure it out in a couple of years. They'll be gone. They need someone to help them this year. This is why they signed Russell Wilson, why they signed Jameis Winston. They're going to take Abdul Carter, go for a strong defense to help them win now.
Yes, I think it's going to be at the top of the. I think that whole top of the picks is going to be the interesting part. After that, I think it's just going to be pretty business as usual there. George Kurtz, we appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the games here tonight. Of course, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. In the meantime, get ready. Don't go anywhere. In-Game Live Draft Central is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow on Game Time Decisions.